Hi everyone, I'm Miss Celeste, and I'm really excited to start this course with you. We are going to focus on early childhood education um, and the development aspects, different types of learning theories and approaches, and just kind of the overall understanding of what early education is, a little bit of history, just kind of diving into a broad area of early education. Some areas I will go in more detail than others because there will be other opportunities and on other parts that we will go in kind of deeper into each like specifics. So in this first part one, I'm just going to kind of give an overview of a lot of those areas. Okay. Again, this is ECE 101. My name is Miss Celeste, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. A little bit about me is I've been in education for, gosh, over uh, about 20 years. I've done roles as in a toddler teacher, preschool teacher. Um, I've also been the director of a private school and also worked in the admin department at another school. So I've definitely kind of sat in many different positions. So I've definitely got to see it from different perspectives, which is very helpful when I'm also guiding other educators, just kind of seeing their points of view and their perspective, which is very helpful because, again, I've been in your shoes in some form. So I understand definitely where you're coming from. So I really hope that this course gives you some insight into early education and some tools and just maybe some areas that you can grow in. I look forward to getting to meet all of you at our live sessions that we're going to have weekly. So I really hope you take that time to engage with me and just kind of share more about yourselves and just so we can learn best together. Okay. Firstly, I'm just going to kind of give an overview of the week. So each week, we are going to have different tasks, and it is going to be located under each module. So it's really important for you to go in there and really kind of make a plan for the week, just to kind of manage your time on what's needed on each task, such as, your book reading, going over the resources, watching the videos, um, and just really giving ample time to kind of digest everything that you're reading and learning. So that's really important. This week, we're going to have an introduction portion, which you're going to create with Canva. It's a free account. And so at that particular, um, in week one, we're going to require that to be done on Tuesday. So that's really quick kind of turnaround, so I really, really want us to use that tool and be creative and, use that time to kind of share who you are. So, and then Wednesday, we're going to have a discussion thread. And primarily every Wednesday we'll have that due. And that will pertain of different questions just for you to kind of dive deep into your thoughts of different areas that we're going to focus on. And the specific details are going to be under each discussion in your Canvas. So if you have questions before you start your discussion thread, please reach out because I'd love to kind of give some insight or direct you and support you as best I can. So we're also giving as much information as we can during those discussion, because the step two of the discussion is going to be you collaborating with your other about, minimum two peers. You're going to respond to them and in a supportive, creative way, which I've kind of listed some questions there to kind of lead you into collaborating with them. And discussions are really important in this course. So it's important that you spend a lot of time conversating with your peers, because this is an online course. So the discussion thread is a big part of how we collaborate. Okay. And that is due every Wednesday. And again, more details in the discussion thread specifically are there on Canvas. Okay. And then Saturday is your journal blog. Again, all these assignments can be turned in prior to the due date, but I am just highlighting when they are due. For your journals, we're going to create a blog account. It is a free account on Medium. Again, if you need some support on how to do that, please reach out prior to Saturday so you have enough time to get this accomplished. Okay. And the purpose of some of these tools that I'm giving you, and for us to work with, which we're going to work through some others that I'll mention later, is really to kind of help you in your resource, I would say, backpack. So these are resources that I think are helpful as an educator, that can help you in presenting a certain topic, preparing, say, a newsletter or a curriculum outline or a lesson plan. You can always use all these different resources that we're going to visit throughout the course as something helpful to use long term. So I'll talk more about each of them as we get to them. But please understand that we are going through these so they can be helpful to you in the future. Okay. And then due Sunday, each week we're going to have an assignment, and that is due Sunday. So again, please at the top of the week, make your time management outline so you can have enough time to work on each of these areas and give really thought out, meaningful either papers or blogs or discussions, because it's important that we're all spending a great amount of time on reflecting on what we're learning. Okay. Another topic is teaching hours. So I am asking you to submit your teaching hours weekly. And this is just to get you to just kind of manage your time with those, because those are mandatory for the course. You are required to do 45 hours. So I'm just trying to keep you on schedule and be helpful in that manner in getting those hours accomplished. If you have any questions regarding that, please again reach out. I'd be happy to answer those questions. I am also asking for a reflection part. And this is just a small part just to better understand your environment, so I can see it through your eyes, and also what you're learning, really what's happening, and just kind of give me a glimpse into what your environment is. Okay. Another is the live session reflection. So each week we're going to have a live session, which is going to be scheduled under live sessions every week. So in there will be specific dates and times, and primarily it'll be around the same time and day of the week. Usually every week will be the same day, same time, slight changes depending on schedule conflicts, but for the most part, it will be weekly on the same day and time. I am offering extra credit if you then want to do a reflection on our live session. There's more detail in the Canvas that you can kind of read on to kind of give you some more insight of what I'm asking with that. And again, this is extra credit. You don't have to do it, but again, I'm trying to give you opportunities to be successful. And if there's any moments that you need a little bit more points here or there, those would be helpful to kind of tie those in there. Okay. So that's kind of our week at a glance. So week one, our first course objective we're going to talk about is really understanding early education and its history. So every week I'm going to kind of give you a question to reflect on. And this time I'm really just trying to get you to dive into what early childhood education is and how can you explain it? How, in your words, do you explain what it is? And when you do that, is it something that you can explain, say, in a paragraph, in a few sentences, through a quote? Are any of these possible? So just kind of ask yourself that. And if the answer is yes, I can, I'd love for you to share how you would do that. And then, secondly, if you cannot, then I hope that you really obtain an answer throughout this course and how you would relay what early education is. Say you're talking to another educator, teacher, parent, faculty, administrator, anyone that you're trying to get them to understand the importance of what it all brings, entails, and why it's so important, is really important as a teacher to be able to relay that. Okay, so let's just kind of dive into that. One small story is when I was first teaching, I was walking through a hallway and I saw a quote. And it wasn't until that quote that I really captured so many areas in early education. And the quote was connection before correction. And I know that sounds really simple and maybe, something that, yeah, we do that every day. I mean, that makes sense. And, not, I guess, maybe not that powerful in some sense. And in some sense, it is to some teachers. But to me, I took it very seriously. And why? Because I really feel that sometimes through my experiences and being in different classrooms, the connection isn't built from the beginning, and the connection isn't raised to the importance that it needs to be. So when I saw that quote, it just brought so many um, emotions and experiences and aha moments, like to me personally, because I really think that we have to build that connection before we can engage, build relationships, for children to see us, hear us, uh, you know, give solutions, just everything. So connection is a big part of early education and how we build upon in the classroom and how it goes into their learning and how it feeds into our teaching. And so connection before correction is a big portion of what we need to build in the beginning, when we're meeting new children or having a new classroom of children, or just again having a new child start, really spending that time individually and seeing how they learn best and building that trust and comfort and a care, from the beginning. And I really think it's super powerful, and so much amazing learning can happen once that's established. And I've seen it happen. And I've said this in many of my, opportunities to coach and mentor in the classroom, and how much of a difference it's made to a lot of teachers that I've had the opportunity to meet. So I really encourage you to be a voice of that, and encourage that connection in the classroom from the beginning. So first, we are going to get into understanding early education. So ECE supports the whole child as they grow and develop through creating an atmosphere to support teachers, class, the attention that works directly with children to help master their unique skills to lay the foundation for learning. So there's so many parts to this. So of course we want to support the whole child as they grow and develop, but we also have to remember to support the teachers in the classroom. And that goes to your leadership. And if you're not getting that support, it's important that you voice that, you get that support consistently in order to really fulfill the whole child aspect, because your support is also very, very important part of early education as well. So I really want to empower you to kind of have that voice with that as well. Um, Other areas are the social emotional aspects, um, and how children process their feelings. A lot of children have never, been to school. This is their first experience. Maybe they haven't been in a social environment. So playing with others and interacting with others, and having problem solving skills can be something that they're just developing. So just be mindful of that, and kind of be there when they need it, but not overpower that leadership. We want them to feel, um, that they can solve the problem. They can kind of come out of it in a way, in a positive sense, to build that self-esteem and confidence and independence. So that's kind of a certain way that we have to approach each child differently. So what works for one child may not work for another. So just always be mindful of that and finding creative ways for your group of children, or for that child, and kind of approaching them that way. Other areas would be language and communication. So ways that they use language through words, meeting with others, answering questions with understanding. We really want them to use their language to communicate their needs, right? So, and this kind of leads in all aspects of learning. Um, Next is movement and physical development. So, mastering their fine and gross motor skills, with different tasks that we would do at school. So fine motor skills will definitely be something that you can encourage inside and outside, but gross motor skills are something more that we're doing outside: jumping, crawling, walking, etc. Um, Things like that. Cognitive would be thinking and learning. So we're really wanting them to learn how to process information, how to problem solve, um, work with material and learn new concepts. So being able to transition into something else, is really, really something that we're building in their brain, and getting them to be creative with that. So that's something that we're supporting. Some history, just to kind of think back a little bit into early education. So in the 1800s, that's when they started to educate children outside their homes. So that meant, doing it in churches, factories, or private homes. So that's definitely kind of when that change happened. NAEYC, which means National Association for the Education of Young Children, is till this day, a big resource for teachers, parents, admin, everyone. And I still use till this day in terms of resources and articles and videos. And it's such a great website that I definitely will share later, and really empower you to go there just for some enlightenment, some solutions or strategies for things that you need support in, because it's really there for you, and you definitely should use it. Their whole goal is dedicating and improving the well-being of all young children and the quality that they receive as well. So they want, in order to do that, they have to support the teacher, the admin, the parents, because together as a team, they are supporting the whole child, right? So this all comes together, and that's what they're a big advocate for. Next is Head Start. So founded through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. What was interesting is that it first started just for the summer option, and this is for children coming into kindergarten. It primarily focused on the low-income families and kind of aided to their support. But now it's really working all year long, so it's going all year. and supporting all backgrounds and abilities. So it's really come a long way from just, starting in the summer, um, and just helping incoming kinders, of just helping a variety of ages, to kind of get them ready for school in general. And parents, they have a big parent support and training and parenting classes that they do for parents. There's also a lot of expectations for parents that they need to do, which I think is wonderful. Because again, I think it's a collaborative effort when we're trying to teach children and support them. It's not just the teacher, it's parents, it's admin, it's everybody together, because we all have an impression that we're making, and each of those environments matter. So the consistency, the efforts are all equally important. So behind ECE, there's different theories that come to mind. So there may be a lot more, or there is a lot more, but I'm just going to kind of tie into the specifics right now. But throughout the course, we're going to talk about others as well. Okay, so Piaget really paved the way to welcome other different styles. His focus was the cognitive development. He kind of broke it down into 4 stages, and he really believed that it started at birth. So again, we'll dive into Piaget's theories at a later time, but I'm just going to, again, just touch on each of these. So Montessori, first woman in Italy to receive her medical degree in the 1900s, came to the US to share her method. So Montessori, as a lot of us probably have heard, has been around for many years. And I've actually had the opportunity to teach in Montessori. So I definitely know firsthand the many areas of it and the differences. And the one thing that I didn't know that I learned while working at a Montessori school was, because Montessori didn't trademark her name, a lot of schools can use the Montessori name. So then it's a bit confusing, because not all schools follow the Montessori philosophy, but you would assume that they do, because it's a Montessori school, but that's not true. So unfortunately, you kind of have a mixed curriculum, or some are authentic Montessori. So it's all different. So I always encourage parents to ask a lot of great questions that, again, I can share later if some of you are interested in that. Next is Reggio Emilia, began in Italy after World War II in the city of Reggio Emilia. So that's interesting, right? And supports a constructive thought as Piaget. So they have similarities there. And then next would be the play-based theory. So this is more the hands-on style. They let children lead themselves and engage. So this is just a little sample of what each of these theories entail. Again, we will dive into each of them later. And I'd love to hear too, if some of you have taught in any of these environments, or kind of led curriculum in this way, because I would love to hear more about it. Okay, so exciting. Other types of ECE programs. So again, we have play-based, Montessori, Reggio, Waldorf, religious-based, or the public sector. So again, there's such a variety now versus before of options that parents can choose, which is so amazing, because as we all know, early education is so important to kind of lay that foundation for learning and get children excited and just really well prepared for school overall, getting their brain ready, getting, just them overall confident and competent and able to explore learning to the fullest, really. Just some current issues surrounding ECE, just to mention, in the developing worlds, and some of the US, we lack nutrition, poverty, and ECE education overall. So that's something that we're continuing to improve and um, and continuing to kind of find a solution for what those are the current issues surrounding ECE. Another is just UC educators. We always hear lack of pay, recognition, development opportunities. So, such as professional development, classes or courses or things like that. And unfortunately, not all schools have that resource. So, not all educators are continuing to kind of get that um, professional development, which I think is an ongoing process because education is ever changing. Children are all different. We all learn different. So we always have to continue to educate ourselves. So I really want to empower you to do that. So not just taking this course, but taking other courses and continuing that journey to find other ways that could best support children's learning and you as an educator. Because as we grow and we learn, we find other ways, right? What work, what doesn't, that's kind of part of the process. So that's okay. If you just haven't found, let's say, the right solution for something, but you're trying to find it, and that's what matters. And that's what you need to focus on. So I really want to encourage, your efforts and everything that you do, because then that leads me into the stressors of what educators go through, which are the lack of parent involvement. So we're always trying to get parents to be a part of the environment, a part of the learning, a part of the conversation, right? So this is always an ongoing struggle, depending on everyone's environment and needs of involvement. Again, that goes to lack of resources. Every school is different, so resources are different. So meaning public or private, very different availability to resources that I've learned over my time. So that's really something to kind of learn more about. Training and team building in school communities. I would say the community aspect is improving, but there are moments that I think we can work towards, creating more team efforts and training opportunities and just being involved within the community. So I definitely think that's kind of a work in progress as we grow here. So ways that we support the whole child. So both teachers and children need support. So how do we do that? Well, we provide interactive supervisors. So we need, right, as teachers, our supervisors to be involved. We need them to be a part of the classroom, a part of the solution in the moments of need, right? Not just putting out a fire when it occurs, but being a part of the whole process. And that's super important. Having more professional development support, as I mentioned. So opportunities to learn and grow. Resources to support all children and teachers. So that just kind of is a variety of not just professional development classes, but I would say in my experience as a director, I really tried to empower learning through specific articles or books, or just depending on what the needs are of the classroom or what dilemmas the teachers are encountering at the moment. I really try to kind of guide them into learning more about, this or that through reading this or strategies for that. And then also being involved in that process and talking it out with them is really important. And another way I can be the resource, right? Your supervisors, directors, other teachers can be a form of a resource as well. So we really want to encourage that. Other ways to support would be providing materials for all children and teachers. Sometimes you're in an environment that I don't have all the materials I need. I need extensions on certain materials because maybe a child has mastered, this material, and we got to add more extensions to it so they can continue to grow and learn. And not all schools maybe have the funds to do that. I've seen that as maybe some teachers would be like, how do you not have funds? You're a school, but each school is different. Each funds are different. If it's private versus public, very different. So that those are all aspects that in order to support the whole teacher and child budget and material is definitely needed. Um, and then being involved in the process. So we all need to be involved in that process. So I would encourage, if you're a teacher, administrator, whatever role you play, that you really be an advocate for involvement in your community and your school. And why? Because I think it's really important that in order for us to do our job well, we need the support of others. And I highly, highly encourage you to be that voice for that if you can, because sometimes it's just a matter of bringing it up in a meeting, saying, hey, I need more support in this, or can you come join me, in class, next week, or just kind of asking for that. Because, I also know being in that role of directorship, there's so much going on that sometimes you lose focus on other areas, and those reminders are helpful, definitely. And then just building trust and keeping an open door policy. And that goes for all positions, all in at the education profession. And what that means is we want to be approachable. We want to give a demeanor of welcoming, calm, happy, respectful. And we also want to build upon those relationships, especially from the beginning. Can't say that enough. Especially when you have new parents, new children, building that connection, as I mentioned before, and building that trust. And that's not just with the child, but that's with the family, the parents, the mom, the dad, anyone who is there in support of that child, grandma, grandpa, sister, brother, everybody. It's important that we build that trust. So I cannot encourage you that enough to do that as well. And lastly, I just, really want to say thank you for your time today. I hope this was enlightening and refreshing. Again, I will dive deep into other theories and areas of education as we go through different parts of the week. But I'm really excited to learn with you, because as much as you're learning, I'm also learning too. So our next stop would be part 2 of week 1. And I look forward to seeing you then. So thank you so much, and have a great day, okay?